So, Terminator Salvation is another movie in Terminator world. It's a fourth installment in the series, and this one is new in perspective, because this one is being held and action is being taken in the future after the Great War between the Skynet and the machines and humans. And in this deep future, we see John Connor for the first time. We see him as a leader of this resistance front, but not the most important leader, because earlier movies told us that John Connor was the savior, almost like a messiah to the resistance movement against the machines. But here we see that John Connor is somewhat of a leader of some units of human resistance, but there are officers and generals above him. There is like a government who is above his decisions. And this is the first time when we see John Connor as a real fighter, as a real soldier. But the difference is that he's not the most important one. He's not. Earlier, we almost thought like without John Connor, there will be no resistance in the future. And here we see that he's a famous person, an officer, maybe high ranking officer, but he's not the most important one. But the main issue of the film is that this is the first movie when we see the actual future after the Great War between the machines and humans. And this future is, for me, it's too light to be true. In first and then the second Terminator, we saw that humans only were fighting in the night when they have a chance to destroy the machines of the Skynet, and they could fight a guerrilla war against the Terminators. But here we see that humans are capable of major military operations. They even have flying craft like transporters or F-16 fighters or F something fighters, and it is almost like the war was very small, and it was not and it was almost like there was no nuclear holocaust after that, because in first and in the second movie, the big part of this war, this resistance, humans against machines, was that the world was almost completely destroyed. And for example, when we see in first Terminator, the bunkers where the humans lived, they were deep under the ground. Maybe not as deep as Valuts in Fallout world, but still they were underground. So living on the surface of Earth was almost not possible because of the dangers of the machines and the Terminators and other machine units. And the future there was very bleak. It was almost like humans are on the edge of the extinction. And here in this Terminator, there are resistance of different fighters against the machines. The machines are a threat, they are superior to human technology, but still humans are capable of, let's say, be 40% for them, 60% for the machines. So this future is almost like a normal future with normal war against someone a little bit more advanced. In this case, machines, Terminators, etc. Um, and unfortunately, the cast is also the problem, because John Connor is played by a very famous actor, but mm, Right now, I even for he was playing Batman in this very famous trilogy of Batman movies. But I would say that he's not a bad John Connor. He's too a good actor to be a bad John Connor. But he's also very non-charismatic John Connor. For example, when we saw only the on when we see for the couple of seconds adult John Connor from the second part, from the second Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, we saw that this is a charismatic leader. And here we see that he's an officer, he's brave, he can fight with the Terminators, but he's no one special. No one special, and for example, other actors, I think a Russian actor or a Ukrainian actor playing Kyle Reese, it's silly because Kyle Reese had perfect English accent in a perfect American accent in first Terminator, and here we see that this actor has an accent, and he completely he couldn't be he cannot be the past or the future Kyle Reese, and we say this very um, almost like non-speaking black little girl, nude, with beautiful curly hair, which should be impossible in the circumstances of the war, because we must remember that this is the action maybe 20, maybe 30 years after the nuclear holocaust. So it was impossible for a such beautiful little girl to be such beautiful with such beautiful hair. It is completely out of the touch with the even with the rest of this movie, and also with the whole universe building. That remind us that in first and in the second Terminator, when we see the future, it's almost completely black. We only see the ruins, and even these ruins are almost like completely devastated, and we see night, we see some lasers and machines hunting for the humans, and this is all what have left from the human civilization. It's maybe not the wiped out situation like in Matrix movies, but it is almost like that. It is almost like that. So this beautiful black nude girl like was completely impossible, because in second Aliens we have this, let's say, nude was also okay, cute, but maybe not as beautiful as this girl. But she was in the bunker hiding from the aliens for, let's say, 25, 30, maybe 2 months, something like that. So okay, so she could be still young, cute, beautiful, and so on. But in the case of this situation, it was completely impossible. And the situation, because the main plot of the Terminator Salvation is that the humans are thinking about using some kind of signal to destroy Skynet, and this signal appears to be fake, and almost all government of humans is wiped out. But but this movie is because at the end of the movie we thought that we destroyed whole Skynet, but we only destroyed one of outpost, or one of major outposts of Skynet. So this movie was probably thought to be a trilogy, a duology, and in other films thought to be produced, but they weren't because of the financial fiasco of Terminator Salvation. And we could say that Terminator Salvation and Terminator Rise of the Machines are in the same league. They are not completely bad movies, but they are out of touch with Terminator franchise. Characters characters don't, and we have also the situation of this strange person who later appears to be another advanced Terminator, and he's rescuing Kyle Reese because some of his parts are human and some of his parts are machine, and he's not aware that he's a machine, and he's from the past, and all of this is very convoluted and unbelievable. It's too silly, too mishmashed to be believed to be true. And there are different plots who are not completely explained, and they don't have nothing with the action, with the actual action we see. So unfortunately, the Terminator Salvation is another failure to show us the great potential of Terminator movies. This one is original in the case that we see for the first time fighting with the Terminators and with the machine and with the Skynet in the future. But for example, the situation that humans have aircraft like jet fighters who are almost able to destroy Skynet fighters. In first and in the second Terminator, we see that humans were completely unprepared that Skynet will take control of the American military system and will launch nuclear missiles into Russia, and then Russia, of course, respond. And it was completely not not in the imagination of that kind of action from the military perspective of United States. And here we see that humans, because someone can say that maybe some of humans survived and their machines, their gears survived, but as we saw, the situation is that no one expected this. No one expected this, that the Skynet will be as advanced as it appeared to be. The Terminators will be as dangerous. And even in third Terminator, when we see these Terminators, they are not as badass, as terrifying as Terminators in Terminator 1 and 2. And even here we see special effects who are quite good for that time. We see this one example of Terminator looking like a human skeleton, but even then we didn't we don't feel dread. We don't feel dread from him. We don't feel that he's some kind of a monster, and a monster very very strong, stronger than humans. And the whole scope of this fight with the machines is almost like a guerrilla war with pockets of resistance, but we also see a very a blue sky, a very warm weather in the California, almost like some parts are even not touched by this great conflict. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's not believable. It's not believable. So the Terminator Salvation is completely mediocre movie, but when we compare it to the first and the second Terminator, we cannot say anything, almost anything good about this movie, or maybe except that one issue, that one situation, that the battle now is in the future and we know who John Connor is. But unfortunately, the John Connor is not as charismatic and as important as he should be. And this is in one case interesting, so this can be an advantage, but the whole situation with government and John Connor, and they are arguing, it's not very well written and very well directed, unfortunately. So the actor is Christian Bale. He's quite a good actor, but still. For example, the John Connor from the second Terminator, the old one and the young one as a kid, they are still the best John Connors we have ever had. So let me know in the comments what do you think about Terminator Salvation. For me, is a very mediocre movie, not very bad, but still not as good as first two movies. And unfortunately, other movies which I will review in the near future are even worse than Terminator Salvation. So let me know in the comments what do you think about the cast, the characters, their lack of charisma, this problem with war not being as obliterating as we expected to be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.